Hello, I'm Claire. Welcome to my channel, Clarobobbins. This is Friday Sews. Thanks to Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room for setting up this hashtag for us all to share. It's all about what we've been making in the sewing room this week, but a little bit of chat and a little bit of life. So this is what I've been up to this week, and I hope you enjoy hearing a little bit about it. I have the H2O2GO bag, the water bottle bag that I made for Sew Skin Summer. So that I got a bit of a pattern review on that. Thought you might like to see it in a little bit more detail. And I have some information about hand presses and how to use a rivet press, plus it's my subscription, my label subscription from the Label Collective. So there we go, my 3 items for today. Come back in just a moment for all the details. Welcome back. What am I wearing? I'll do this before I forget. So this is the Sew Over It Sorrento jacket made in denim from Sherwood's. It's a stretch denim called Trowel. It was a seconds. It had blue marks on it. They all washed out. It was really inexpensive in the sale. Remnant, was it a remnant or just sale? Remnant. Can't remember, but it was heavily reduced. They've got great sales on at the moment. Go and have a look. I think this is still available. It's a really nice weight. I would say maybe 10 ounce, 8 ounce. Bit of stretch, great colour. I lined it with a remnant of Lady McElroy Viscose Chalet. That mulberry colour, Cobra Corsage. Did a nice dress that goes beautifully with this jacket in that. Yeah, slippery lining in the sleeves so that it goes on and off really easily. Prim buttons, more about those in a moment. Yeah, there we go. Underneath I've got my Curso top made in the viscose voile, and at the bottoms I've got my Loddon pants, which are Style Arc Loddon pants that I made, and I made the outfit as part of my Fabric Wheel of Fate, the last series. So I will pop a card up for you to have a look at that in a little bit more detail if you're interested. Okay, so onwards and upwards. The H2O2GO bag, and here it is. So the May challenge, one of the May challenges, I don't know if it was the only one, but I'm sure there were usually more than one. May challenge Instagram was the Sew Skin Summer challenge, and I made this lovely bag. Now I've been meaning to make one of these for myself for at least 2 years, because I made several friends and family members them for Christmas. My sister started it off. Will you please make me a water bottle bag for Christmas? So yes, so I found this pattern, and the thing I like about this pattern, and the thing that made it so appropriate for Sew Skin Summer, was the lovely pocket at the front where you can put your phone, your tissues, your sunscreen. It's great for if you're going for a walk. So it all fits in there. It's nice and secure with the zip front. And I used a bag zipper, a lovely stripy zipper. This was from Zipper Station, and it has the different colours all the way across. And I used this oil slick design puller to go with it. A little Rosy Cheeks label. Be strong, be happy, be you. So I thought you might quite like to see how this is made. There's lots of room for a water bottle. This isn't a particular, this is just a standard cycling water bottle. Loads of room in there. You could fit other stuff in there with it, or you could fit a really big one if you have one that's, you know, kind of smoothie maker size. I've used rose gold hardware. that's riveted. And a little bit later on in the video, I show you how I did this, and I show you quite a lot of information about the rivet press, and what you should consider if you're thinking of buying one, what the alternatives are, how they work, and an example of how to put a cap rivet in. I also have, you'll see in the video at the moment, I will have put up some photographs of how this is put together. I like clips. Have I got any handy? Excuse me one moment while I grab a couple of clips. In your bag making, clips are really good to get close to seams and so on. You know, these little wonder clips, they hold the fabric really easily, and they're a great alternative, in particular for bag making, when you're working round a curve of quite thick fabric. And also when I was sewing all of this top stitching around here, for example, I used a zipper foot. Now there's a brilliant, really good sew along that I've used for making all of my bags. I made, excuse me, I can't remember if I made 9 or 11 when I made them for Christmas presents. So I've either made 10 or 12. Who knows? Did I count? No, not really at the time. I also like to use one of my fangs. These are really good for getting in close when you're manipulating all these thick fabric layers, because you know there's areas when you're sewing together lots and lots of layers and top stitching and so on, and these are really handy because you can put pressure on right by the presser foot without running over your fingers, or if you've got clumsy fingers, you know, if you're trying to get a detailed bit and your fingers are too big to do it, this is great. I also have a metal bradawl, a clover one that's very pointy and has a steel tip, which is also very good, but for this particular bag I found this absolutely fine. And with these you can use them in a number of ways. I mean, they're very inexpensive off Amazon, and you can get them in packs of 2, or I think I bought a pack of 4 for about a £5 and gave, it might have been less, might have been £3.99 for 4, I can't remember. They were inexpensive, and you can use them. The little section at the end is a 1/4 inch, so it's a handy little measure. You can use the flat bit for if you want a kind of chisel end near something, or you can use that side of the pointy bit, which gives you a more gentle pressure, or if you want to get really strong pressure in a really tiny area, you can use them that way up. And they're really effective at pressing down and putting pressure on in a specific area. They've also got a hole in, so you can use them as a thread elastic. So I love these, and particularly for bag making, they're great. So that would be my tip of the day when bag making. Have one of those. So yeah, you'll have seen the stills I put up of this. I'm not going to go on any longer. It's by Lindz Designs. I'll put all the details below. I did put them in when I did my Friday sews last week, because I think I was part way through making this. I managed to finish it on Saturday morning in time to get the entry in to Sew Skin Summer for the 31st of May. So I managed to finish it. So I was part way through doing it when I showed you the video. I always start with the straps because I like, when I finish the bag, to be able to just clip the strap on and it's done. So I like doing it that way around. It's got a slider on it. It's lobster clasps. I think these came from Emmeline bags. Maybe from... can't remember, stocks them in the UK. See any moment there, sorry. Yeah, fabric is beautiful watercolour flowers from Lady McElroy. This is the candleless drill, and then just some quilting cotton, and I used whatever the appropriate interfacing was. It does say in the pattern which to use, and there's some useful information on the interfacing in the sew along. So that's my H2O2GO bag, and I love it. I'm really pleased with it. So that was my biggest make this week. What else has been happening in the sewing room? Well, I've got my Largo cargos on the way. There, another pair of Largo cargos. You'll be fed up with this pattern. I love it. So that's my raspberry Largo cargos, almost finished. I'll show you the finished ones next week. I won't mention the fabric wheel of fate, only to say I started the summer edition. So you'll find the video. I'll put a card up for the video for my fabric wheel of fate video. The summer edition, episode 1, series 2. Don't miss it. Go and have a look. This is the facing for my Largo cargos. Lovely little rosy cheeks label, perfectly imperfect. And I did I faced my facing. If you'd like to know a little bit more about how to do that, let me know in the comments below and I'll show you. One of Sian from Kittenish Behaviour, one of her subscribers explained how to do it. And she shows it in one of her sew-alongs. So I've used that ever since I saw that. It gives you such a neat finish on a facing. This is then top stitched in to the this is the waistband on the Largo cargos. So if you're interested in how to get that lovely smooth finish without a great big seam on an interfaced facing, let me know and I'll do a little demo. So that's my Largo cargos. Okay, next I'm going to run through these quite quickly because when I finished speaking to you, I've got my video on the hand press, the rivet press that I did, just in case you're interested. It's about 10 minutes. If you're not interested, just leave then, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. You might already have a rivet press. You might not want to see one. Okay, it's the Label Collective. Let's see. I've remembered to put some tape over my address, so I'm not flashing my address. What am I like? Right, here we go. Specky Seamstress, Label Collective, my one subscription of the month. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's quite cute. Nice for summer. Made for me are the large labels and then little strawberries for the small labels. Oh, I like that. That's very simple, very classy. Yeah, very nice. I love that her labels are always a little bit different. Yeah, very nice. So, a little bit of life before I hand you over to the rivet press video. A little bit about life. Last Saturday we had a 50th birthday barbecue with our lovely friend Chris, and then we went off to the Lyceum Theatre in Crewe to see Kai Witherington's Evolution Tour. Oh my goodness me. If you can get tickets and you like ballroom dancing, it's a fabulous show. You're in for a real treat. It was brilliant. We had great seats. We were right on the front row of the circle, right in the centre. And they do 2 1-hour sets, and goodness me, the energy. And it's all about his life from when he was about 6 and learning, you know, a bit of a hyperactive child and learning to dance. And it's such a good show. High energy, very interesting. He works with 2 other male dancers and a total of 3 female dancers, and they are fabulous dancers. It shows a great range of different dance styles. There's even a little bit of street in there. And it gives you his life story, and it's really endeared me to him as a dancer. I've always liked Kai. I like to support our British, English, you know, from anybody from the home nations. I love to support them in Strictly because we have so many exotic European and dancers from the Far East and Russia and America, and you know, all these, yeah, exotic dancers. I'm saying exotic, I don't mean exotic in that sense. I mean dancers from far-flung shores that have a mystique and bring with them, you know, their language and their style and their fabulous dance technique. But it's really nice to support the likes of Kevin from Grimsby, you know, or Kai from Southampton. So yeah, if you get to see Kai Witherington Evolution, then it's brilliant, absolutely fabulous. So enough about Kai. Yeah, we had a lovely time. I've also recently been out for a curry with some sewing friends. So Liz and Frances, if you happen to watch, Frances had a business, and I bought a workshop from Frances, and she very, very kindly gave me these two lovely gifts. One is, you know, I'm a beekeeper. If you've watched me before, you'll know I'm a beekeeper as well. This lovely needle minder, and I will just put photos of that up for you with a bee, and these fabulous stitch markers. I knit as well. I don't knit as much as I sew. I'm not a very experienced, or, you know, I knit, but I'm not a very experienced knitter. These lovely bee themed stitch markers, absolutely gorgeous, inspired. I don't know where she found those from, but aren't they lovely? So they will be going on my knitting. Doing a nice cable cardigan at the moment. That might be done for next summer. So there we go. That's my little bit of life. Fabulous curry. I can't remember where we went to. We went somewhere in Crewe, and it was brilliant. Really, really good. Yeah, really nice menu, a little bit different, and yeah, very nice restaurant. Loved it. So there we go. That's my Friday sews. Hope you've enjoyed what I've been doing in the sewing room and in life this week. I've been gardening as well. We've been busy in the garden. So it's been a hectic week. More of that later. My roses were looking beautiful, and I thought I must take some photographs of these for Friday sews, and I didn't. And then it poured down, and the wind came and it battered them to bits. So my roses are still looking colourful from a distance, but a bit tatty close up. But yeah, they'll recover. They'll be fine. They'll be fine for at least another month yet, I would think. And then they flower again and again. They're the ones that flower over and over again, so they'll come back. But the first flush of flowers now of all my roses is out. So the front garden is looking very colourful, very pretty, and I love it at this time of year. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to leave you now. I hope you'll enjoy having a look at how to use a rivet press or hand press, what to look for if you want to buy one, how they work. Yeah, they're really simple. So yeah, if you're interested, stay and watch that. If you're not, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, and welcome to my new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. It's very kind of you. If it's your first time here and you like what you see, do please subscribe. Do come back again, and I'll leave you with my video all about the rivet press. Hope to see you next week. Bye-bye. So this is my hand press, rivet press. They have a number of different names. I'm just going to talk you through what it is and how you use it. So first of all, there are a number of these and available on the internet. The mechanism here is a cast material, and it's all about driving this steel bar in a straight linear movement through to put pressure through this die here. Spring mechanism, very, very simple. You just press it down, and this bit here does the work. This is the die. There's two parts to each die, and this is the press. Okay, so this part, the cast part, and there's a number available through the internet and through various shops, and they cost from about £25. I think mine was about 45-ish. I've had mine a number of years. It was a Christmas present with some dies. The dies are the expensive bit, and the dies are specific to the machine. So the dies for this bluey grey machine are different to the dies for the green machine. So I bought this from either Trimming Shop or Green Grizzly. I'll put details in the information box below of those two suppliers. Those are the two I buy regularly from, but there are plenty of other suppliers around. You just need to check and know which machine you're buying for, because this die, which is for jeans buttons, and I've got one in there so I know what it's for. Can you just see in the bag? Just catch the light if I can. I keep a sample of what the die is for in the bag so that I don't get confused. So there we go, that's a button, 17mm button die. Quite expensive this. I think this was about at least 25, might even been £30 just for the die. The die is the expensive bit, but this die will not fit a green machine. Okay, from Green Grizzly. Green Grizzly do two different, in fact they do I think 5 different presses, some much more industrial and, you know, proper manufacturing scale, whereas this is a simple hand press. But they all do a very similar job. Now I bought this because I'd made the jacket that I'm going to be wearing in this video. I made this, it has buttons, and I used hemline buttons, and they're about £5 a pack, or they were when I made this, they're about £5 a pack, perhaps £4.70, something like that. I've not bought any recently, I don't know what they are now. And I needed 1 pack to complete the jacket, and I used nearly 3 packs by the time I'd finished, because particularly when you're going through anything a little bit thicker, getting them to go straight with the little plastic tool was a real challenge, and you only need to be off a tiny bit when you're hammering them to have them squash, and then you can't do anything about it. You can't reuse the bit that gets, the back that gets pierced. Once it's pierced and it's not quite straight, that's it, it's scrap. So I bought about 3 packs to do the job of 1 pack. So this stops all that. I would only lose, maybe get 1 out of 50 wrong, and with this, most of the time they're right every time. It was very consistent. So if you're going to be making bags and putting, you know, jeans buttons on things, then they're a really good investment. But I would just say, because the dies are expensive, I would say choose a manufacturer and a supplier where they do a really good range of dies that you can buy again in the future. Future-proof yourself. Don't go for the cheapest option straight away and then find that you can't get dies to fit that machine, because there are a whole lot of different machines in different colours on the market. Make sure the dies are available, because those are the expensive bit, and they only tend to fit, in my experience so far, 1 type of machine. So I think Trimming Shop and Green Grizzly both do this machine and these dies, and they both do the green machine and the green machine dies, which is probably the most popular version of this on the market. So today I'm just going to show you how to install a cap rivet, which is the ones I use for my bag making, a cap rivet into a little piece of scrap fabric. So the cap rivets have 2 parts. They have a part with try and show you clearly the 2 bits. They have a part with a longer stem, and that's better against the white, and then a little cap which has a shorter stem. Can't really see that very clearly. There we go. And they snap together and create a really secure fastening for a bag or something like that. So I'm going to put one into here. It's just a little bit of scrap fabric, and I do have a hole cutter that fits in here that will fit, that's the right size. I think it's 2mm, or might be 2 or 3mm one. I do have one that fits beautifully. However, because you have to change this every time and this all has to be unscrewed, I find that if I'm just doing rivets through fabric or through a bag strap or whatever, this is adequate. And I think this was £3.99 from home bargain. So I'll do the whole process for you, and then you can see. So I'm just going to pause the video for a second and zoom in so you get a really good view of what's happening at this sharp end here with the die. So there we go, I've zoomed you in. I didn't want to make you seasick. Now I'm going to cut the hole in here. You can see so here's one I did earlier. But I'm going to cut a fresh hole. So I'm just using my hole punch. You'll hear a click as it goes through. 2 hands, I'll try and hold it steady. Hope you can hear that. It's made a nice clean hole. Well, it's not clean actually, but it has made a hole through. It'll be fine. Now into that hole now I put the stem of the cap rivet. There we go. And then the cap bit goes on to that side. So you just pop this on by hand. I'm trying to show you. And then you squeeze gently and it will just click a little bit. Did you hear that little snap? Now that is in place, but you can see there's a big amount of air and space. So what we do now is we put it with this particular die and process. It doesn't matter which way up it goes. Some of them though, it's essential to have it the right way, but for this particular one it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to pop that into there so that you can see it. I'll try and keep my hands out of the way, and then I'm just lowering that down, make sure it's in the middle, and then press. It's nice firm press, so I'm not pressing hard, and you can see now that that's closed right up and we've got a really lovely secure, it's really strong and secure, and that's going to add strength to any bag anchoring area. And they're quite decorative as well. So I've used gunmetal there. If you've got a choice of all different colours. These come in all sorts of colours for bag making. I tend to limit all my bag hardware to one of 3 different colours, so that I've got, you know I've got everything I need in different sizes for pretty much most types of bags that I make. So these are some of the different dies. This is one for jeans buttons. You can see I keep one of the examples in there so I can see. That's a jeans button, 17mm jeans button, which is pretty standard. And then I've got, what's this one? This one is for big eyelets. So I've got a couple of different sizes of eyelet dies. I built these up over the years. This is another, I think this is another cap rivet, but a smaller size. So I think this is does it say A8? Could be an 8. I don't know. It's a different size. Maybe a 5mm rivet. It's a small rivet anyway. This is a much larger rivet here. And then this one is a hat rivet. So this is my most recent purchase. So when I made my last set of Largo cargos, I wanted to put a jeans type rivet with a little hat on, and you can see that little hat there. Do you see that where my thumbnail is? Oh, it's probably gone. I'm not sure if you can see that. But this is for the type of rivets you have on jeans, and there are different shapes of the cap rivets, and they're called hat rivets, and that needs a separate die. So again, I think this was about, £17 plus postage, so that they're not cheap. So you need to make sure that you can get hold of the type of die that you're going to use. Some of the manufacturers of these machines do kits, so you might see something that says everything you need for bag making, and if you're just bag making, then that would be a really good kit to start with, because you'll get a reduction because you're buying in bulk. But have a look through and make sure that you do need everything in there, And then if you wanted to do bag making, but maybe you might make a denim jacket, then you could just add the button die into that. They also do dies for covering buttons and that sort of thing. There's a whole range. So do a little bit of research before you buy. Some people, instead of using this type of thing, will have two of these machines, and they'll set one machine up for making the holes and the second machine up for pressing the die, for pressing the rivets. So that's something to think about if you're looking at doing something maybe on a larger scale, or if you just do bag making and you're going to be using one of these every day. I do bag making occasionally, so I only use this occasionally, and I'm very happy to use my simple hole punch, and then have the variety of different dies to use this. The other option, of course, is the Prim Vario tool, and that is a handheld version of this that is a better option than the simple plastic tools you get in kits for example, the jeans buttons from Prim, but it's a little less heavy duty than this one. So there weren't any Prim Vario tools when I bought this, but it is something I might have considered if they'd been available at the time. So I hope that's useful. Hope you enjoy my information on bag making, and I'll sign off there.